So I'm Finn, living in Norway, and I know too much. So there's nothing I can do except to open my mouth. So long as I can.
Do you know below what hat these criminals with the dirty programs are operating? Is it the PSD, the police secret service, or do you know something?
All of them. All of them.
They are?
But they have these rouge groups also, you know, like neighboring groups. There was an intelligence officer, Julia McKinney, an American. She's still alive. But she revealed on the internet how they operate. And she says, first you find out that your post starts disappearing. That has been going on for over 10 years with me. It disappears, or when I send something, they don't get it. Then your email doesn't work, then your fax doesn't work, your telephone doesn't work, you don't get your messages. That's the first sign that something is happening. Then your good neighbors who were nice and good to you all of a sudden turn sour and start being nasty to you for no reason at all. So there are steps, and I looked at the steps, you know, and then what happens, and I thought, ooh, I'm in paragraph 4. Paragraph 5 is death. Okay, there's no death. But so it is the society. They lie and they recruit people who are poor, mental patients who are outpatients. I know some even here. And the people who need the money, or people who have nothing to do. Think of an old lady who has nothing to do, no relatives, nothing, sitting alone in her house. All of a sudden they say, hey, here's a device, wall-through-wall radar. We want you to watch this. It's like a television screen. What your neighbor is doing, you can see through the walls. You can see when she is in bed with somebody. You can see when she is in the toilet. It's a device that exists. Military device. Well, that saves the woman's life. Now I can live. I can see what is happening in the neighboring house. Think. So there are many reasons why people, you know, go into the system. But once you're in, you can never get out. Like somebody said that that he had seen a CIA agent only in a coffin who got out. People have different motivations. Somebody hates a neighbor, somebody hates a family member. That's very easy trade, you know, okay, do this, and you get paid, well paid. Too bad. It's up to your morals, what you do.
If there have been politicians in countries like Norway or other countries which have learned about what is going on and try to oppose it, have they succeeded in any way to change the direction of events for the better, or has something happened? Do you know any cases where something has been happening to some
not by names,
politicians?
not by names, but I think if politicians really get involved, they get into trouble. In the States, the U.S. Senate, I think, several years ago found out. I mean, it was presented officially, the system, and they forbid it. They didn't want anything to be done because they realized that they could be affected. And of course today, all the politicians, the highest ones, must be the targets because they want them into control. I mean, a prime minister, you know, a handshake, whatever, and a defense minister. And I know a very high officer in Finland said that he was offered a microchip so that if you are kidnapped, so we can find you. And he said no. And I was so stupid that I didn't ask who offered you. You know, I was just so flabbergasted that a high Finnish official, you know, officer gets, you know, this. And then he said no, and I thought, they must have done it already, but you don't know. But there is no human race as we know it if this goes on now for the next generation. And I read in the papers in Norway already a year ago that a new section of Aarhus University Hospital is going to implant with a microchip all newborn babies, their mothers, and the health personnel. And the excuse was that the babies couldn't be kidnapped. Now, I have never heard of a case in Scandinavia where the baby has been kidnapped. So they just said, like they do in England. You know, just, come on, BS. But this is a reality. So how do you fight against it? Only by raising the awareness of the people. Because nobody wants their child to be a biological robot to his computer. Nobody. Right? Mm-hmm. Everybody wants something good in their life. And why don't they make us all happy? They could just put the frequency of love. There is a frequency for every single emotion. Let's put it, a frequency of love. So all my neighbors who attack me and do whatever, they would become nice, and I would become nice to them. Why don't they do that? No, they put the frequency of hate, and that's it, because it serves their interest.
Is that a frequency through the media, like the pictures that show wars and all the famines, and they create crisis after crisis?
Well, that is something else.
Or is it through the mind control programs?
Well, in a way, of course, it affects you. It does affect all the wars. But what is worse is that within the TV programs, like Pokemons or something, you know, they have mind control programming for the children. And then there are other programs that have mind control programming for the adults. And it is not, it's just, you know, subliminals. They come and come and come and come. And the Pokemons, Nintendo, they were doing some research in Japan, and was it 700 or 900 kids got epileptic attacks when they were watching it, because they put that frequency on it. They can put a frequency that you get a heart attack. They can change your program. All of a sudden you look at the TV and you don't push the button, it just changes. You know, that program changes. Somebody remotely controlling it. Like they remotely control your electricity and all your devices. And your brain. And that is the worst.
You talked about the chips, micro implants,
yeah,
and the RFID chip.
Yeah.
But I'm feeling that people are waking up to these facts, and they don't want to be chipped. So do they have a plan? Do they have a plan to, like, if we're not going to accept the chip, they may chip us through the other programs they have, like through the chemtrail implants, like they have these micro powder RFID chips that you talk about.
I don't know their plans, but that what I do know, which I have read, that they plan to eliminate 2/3 of the world population. They just want about, we are 6.5 billion, and maybe 1.5 billion would be enough. And that is done with conventional wars, which go on all the time. That is done with electronic warfare, with chemical warfare, and then a big catastrophe, which possibly could happen the year 2012. It's nothing that would come from the universe, but the Russians and Americans together, New World Order, can arrange it. They have man-made so-called UFOs. I mean, they look like the real ones, and we couldn't tell the difference. And they can come to the skies. They have holographic pictures. They have already had them, you know, Jesus or somebody comes
in Moldova in 2008.
Yeah.
You saw that?
I didn't see it, no. But I know they have them. And their plan is probably to have in every country holographic pictures coming, and in your language, in Norway, in Norwegian, in the US, in English, in Finland, in Finnish, some figure what you believe. If you're a Buddhist, you believe in Buddha. If you're a Muslim, you believe in Muhammad. Comes and talks to you. And then things can start happening that maybe could eliminate the 2/3 of the world population. That's the plan.
Or we will we will be enslaved by these people, because we will be in need of having someone to take care of us, because they put out these crises.
They plan to eliminate the middle class. There's only elite and slaves. The middle class who can think and read and write is no good. So the elite wants just the elite and slaves. You know, and they don't accept that anybody says that there is no death, because that changes their position. If there's no death, which I absolutely know because I've been out of my body many times, that changes. You have a responsibility, not only for this life, but for the next and the next and a million years ahead. And what you have done, you can't escape. These guys escape now, but when they're dead, getting out of their body, then what did you do? And there's nobody telling you what did you do. It's you realizing it. So, you know, it's a question of morals and ethics, and the guys who are governing the world, they think that it's good that there are not so many people, because they claim we don't have enough food. We have enough food if we distribute it all right. Right?
Start growing locally.
Yeah, for instance.
Keep it on a local level.
For instance. But, well, I don't know what to do except trying to wake people up.